I like superheroes. It's a cool concept. They're extremely good superhero movies. Hell, some of my favorite movies are superhero movies, like Batman the Dark Knight or Watchmen, if you can call it a superhero movie. I watched most of the Marvel movies too, especially before the Endgame. After that, I think I was too saturated with superhero content and I didn't want to consume any of it. I actively tried to avoid any superhero content for this reason as well. Now thinking today, that was the reason why I skipped Marvel's Spider-Man when it first came out. Nothing changed in my life. I'm still not that invested in superheroes whatsoever. But I think 5 years of no superhero content was enough for me to make me want to consume some superhero content. I remember playing superhero games like X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and Spider-Man 3 on my PSP. In more recent years, I have played Batman Arkham series, but among the superhero games I have played, my favorite was Infamous 2. It was an extremely fun game with great movement, fun combat, and a decent story presentation. That was my expectation going into Marvel Spider-Man. Great movement, fun combat, and a decent story. There was a remastered version available in PS5, so I picked it up and started playing. But did the game meet my expectations? Without further ado, let's move on to the review. So, I would like to start the review by talking about something that I like about the game. Spider-Man slash Peter Parker we play as is already Spider-Man. Why is this a good thing? Because I physically couldn't stand to watch him getting bit by a radioactive spider and watch Uncle Ben die tragically again for the 700th time. Our Spider-Man knows how to fight and take down baddies already. The game actually starts with us taking down the Fisk. We beat up his man, later we beat up him, and he gets sent to prison. But this creates a power struggle within the criminals, and new bad guys won't run the town. I like the intro of the game, it's plain and simple, sets a good base for the game. And the Fisk boss fight is cool also. It is not deep or mechanically rich, but I find myself dying to him one or two times, which was a surprise for me. Not because I'm a god gamer or anything, but I thought the game would be easier. All in all, intro was cool and had a great introductory boss fight. But after the intro of the game, that is when the real thing happened. The game finally left me to swing freely in the open world. I swing to the left building, then the right one, and I say to myself, that's it. This is the best moment in any game I have played to this day. The swinging from building to building feels so great. Jumping to the top of a building and gaining incredible momentum, running vertically and horizontally on a side of a building, swinging again at the last moment before the fall and getting the incredible heights. I find it really hard to explain how it feels. You just gotta try it to see what I'm talking about. And as the game progressed, I thought it would be get old and become mundane, but it didn't, to my surprise. Even towards the end of the game, the best thing was still the moment. Whoever the moment guys are in Insomniac games, I would like to thank you for the incredible joy that you guys provided for me. Unfortunately, not every part of the game was this great for me. Moment matters, but where you move to also matters as well. And from that end, I believe that Marvel Spider-Man drops the ball. The side content in the game sucks. There are crimes which you can solve and stop, but the problem is there are like 5 variations of these crimes and it repeats itself. Always beat up some criminals or stop a car theft, etc. etc. This content is so bad that I didn't want to do the main thing which Spider Man does stopping crime. I don't understand how you can make 5 variations in the games, in my opinion, the most important side activity in a multi-million-dollar project. Other than crimes, there are laboratory activities which our friend Harry left us to do while he's away. These activities are not as repetitive as the crime content. There are some fun ones like cleaning the city's docks, as the Spider-Man is cool concept for me actually. There are also collectibles which are cool to collect in my opinion. There are photo spots which you have to take photos of. I didn't understand this, but okay, maybe. There are bases where you beat waves of enemies, which are extremely repetitive as well. There are stealth, combat, and movement challenges, which open new skills that I like, but they're really limited. There are like 9 challenges in total. There are also some side quests, which are unlocked as you progress in the game. Most of them, unfortunately, are unmemorable, except the incredible boss fight with Tombstone, which, in my opinion, is the best boss fight in the game. But aside from this, the side content is really repetitive and boring, which is a shame because I would really like to swing to every activity which the game could if the side content was more refined and less repetitive. It feels like they are there to just increase the playtime of the game. I want to talk about the combat system in Marvel Spider Man. It is nothing new or groundbreaking. You mash the quick attack button and hope the enemy dies. I don't really like this type of spammy combat, but that might just be my preference. There are some combos that you can do which are fun, like taking the bad guy to the skies with an uppercut and swinging to them with a double leg kick. But unfortunately, these unique attacks are not enough to get me through the game without being bored of the combat. There are gadgets which you can unlock by doing open world activities and you can upgrade them to make them more powerful. They are fun for a time. Also, one positive thing about the combat to me is that dodging feels nice. Especially after unlocking the perfect dodge skill, it feels nice to use and play around. There is a stealth mechanic which is not really prioritized in the game, but it feels okay to clear one or two enemies before combat. All in all, the combat gameplay in the game gets extremely repetitive towards the end of the game. I actually actively tried to avoid some skillful fights towards the end of the game. Unfortunately, the enemies are no better. One regular guy who punches, one guy with a gun, one with a sword, some brute, that's it. There are like 5 or 6 regular enemies that you fight the whole game, which is unacceptable in my opinion. This lack of variety in common enemies is also present in the game's bosses as well. I can't understand how in a Spider Man game there are like 4 or 5 boss encounters, which almost all are towards the end of the game. This is really unfortunate because the quality of the boss fights are extremely solid. I believe that with the addition of more unique side content bosses, the repetitiveness feeling that the player gets could have been decreased and minimized. I want to talk about the story of the game as well. This part contains major spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled, you can skip it from the time section. Marvel Spider Man tells the story of an older, more experienced Peter Parker who has been Spider Man for 8 years. After he helps the police arrest crime boss Wilson Fisk, a new group called Inner Demons starts taking over the city led by Martin Lee, who secretly becomes the villain, Mr. Negative. Peter works with Mary Jane and meets a teenager named Miles Morales while trying to stop a dangerous bioweapon called Devil's Breath from being released. At the same time, Peter's mentor Dr. Otto Octavius slowly turns into the villain Dr. Octopus after his inventions fail and his anger grows. Otto forms a team of supervillains called the Sinister Six and releases Devil Breath, throwing New York into chaos. In the end, Spider Man defeats him but faces a heartbreaking choice, choosing to save the city even though it means losing Aunt May. It is a simple, spurious story, nothing fancy, but I liked it. I can even say I miss stories like this in the games I play. Especially the part we play as Miles is really dramatic and well written. The only thing I can criticize in the game's story is that it has a major pacing problem. The first half of the game is completely different game pacing wise from the second half of the game. But overall, the story and presentation of it feels simple yet satisfying and, most importantly, fun. I found that Marvel Spider Man shines brightest in its moments. Swinging through the city felt incredible from the very first moment, and it stayed enjoyable right up to the end. It is easily some of the best moments I've ever experienced in a game. I like that the story starts with an experienced Peter Parker, skipping the overused origin plot and opening with a strong intro and a fun Fisk boss fight. But once the game opened up, I started noticing some problems. I found the side content extremely repetitive, from copy paste crime events to unmemorable side quests, and the limited enemy variety didn't help as well. Combat felt bottom meshy and grew stale over time, even though dodging and gadgets had their moments. Boss fights were great, but there were surprisingly few of them. On the other hand, I found the main story simple but genuinely enjoyable, with some strong emotional moments, even if the pacing was uneven. Overall, I find the game fun and satisfying in terms of traversal and story, but lacking depth and variety everywhere else.